Welcome to episode 41 of Shane Talks. Last week was the Marvel Cinematic Universe. This week is going to be Marvel television shows. It's Marvelous May. Next week we're going to do the non-canon MCU movies and a bunch of other random comic book movies to finish out our Marvelous May month. As always, I am joined by Jason L. Mayer this week. And once again, Brandon Simpson comes back 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah, welcome.
Yeah, and I love Brandon's first question when we got into the pre-stuff tonight. He was like, do I have to answer those questions again from last week? To which I told him, no, he does not. So if you haven't listened to Brandon's answers to the Hurwitz questionnaire, they are at the end of last week's episode. I am not going to make him do it again this week. But this week, we all are drinking the same beer. I was able to secure a collection of... now, here's the honest thing. I'm not really a big 4-Day Ray fan. And there's Jason's new puppy. We can give her a shout out real quick. What's her name?
This is Bella.
Where did the name come from?
Bella.
Oh,
So
where'd the name come from?
Mainly just because
the Italian
it helped fit her.
Okay,
So
nice.
we had a list of like 10 names: Sky, Willow, Storm.
You didn't want to make her a stripper?
Zoe, all of those names.
Zoe would have been a good one, keeping with
I wanted Zoe or Willow, or Storm, but she ended up.
You got outvoted.
No. Actually, I hated to admit it. My wife picked out Bella, and while we were driving home, just looking at her, like the name just stuck.
Nice.
So
that's awesome.
I really thought it was definitely more her style.
Cool. So we're doing a brewery we've never done before on the podcast. It's honestly a brewery I'm not the biggest fan of here in town in Indianapolis. However, I had a gift card for there, and they released a beer that sounded good to me, so I thought I'd go give it a shot, buy a case of it, and pass it along to you guys. So tonight we're drinking 4-Day Ray's Strawberry Lemonade Blonde Ale.
Sponsorship.
Yeah, go for it, Snow. How do you like it?
Not bad. I'm not getting a lot of the strawberry. I'm getting more lemonade, but it's okay.
Yeah, it's drinkable, Mayor.
I will agree that it. This is a light kind of spring summer kind of drink.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's definitely got a little bit. It's got a lot of lemon as far as that goes.
Yeah.
And just like a small hint of strawberry for me,
like a dash.
Yeah,
I agree.
It's very good though. I mean,
yeah.
I like it.
I can sit outside during the day and drink it, and probably drink a lot of them.
I'll honestly never drink it again, but it's okay. It's good.
Sounds good. All right. So, anybody watch anything cool this week? I know Jason did, but we'll have to wait for him to come back. Snow, did you watch any new movies or anything exciting this week?
Movies, not so much.
Okay.
I don't think so. I tore through the entire series of Money Heist or La Casa de Papel.
I've heard about this. Is it good?
It is amazing.
Okay.
And very addicting. If
on Netflix, right?
Yeah, as long as you're okay with shitty dubbing, because the dubbing's kind of bad.
Okay.
But story-wise, it's really good.
Nice.
It's amazing how they drag it out, but
they got another season coming here soon, right?
Yeah, it should be. Yeah.
Sometime this summer or something. I thought I saw.
Yeah, I think it's like in June or something. But they drag out these heists for 3 seasons. Yeah, like the first heist was 2 seasons long, and now we're going into 3 seasons worth of the current heist that they've been in.
Oh wow!
So I'm like,
interesting.
Man, they're just camping out here, but still, really good story.
Okay, I've heard good things about it, but I haven't committed to it yet. Mayor, I know you watched some cool movies this week. What'd you check out?
So I refused to watch Mortal Kombat until I could watch it in a movie theater. So I went to the local AMC and watched it there. Mainly because of the time that it started worked out for me as far as getting away from the kids and all. So
only because of the competition.
Oh, dude, I dislike. I worked for that company. I despise that company. They don't treat people well. They like to spend money like it's water when it's taking care of their building, but not taking care of their employees. In my personal opinion,
right.
Things might have changed since I left, but I just don't really. Don't really the company. Anyway, I saw Mortal Kombat there. Liked it. It was pretty much exactly what I was expecting. I will agree with Shane. He made a comment to me today. He goes, "I don't understand how Mortal Kombat is about a competition that there's no competition." And
they're leading up to the competition. They're getting this is the prequel to the competition.
I don't buy it. I understand where you're going with it.
I'm following your vibes on that. Like, I totally can see why you're saying that. But overall, it was just fine. It was cool to watch. It's better than the 95 version. I don't think it's as good as the Machinima version.
Not at all. The Machinima version is top notch. Oh yeah,
it cost a fraction of it.
It cost a freaking fraction. So, but like, if you're a fan of the movie or the video game, give it a shot. Go for it. See what you can do. The next thing I saw was, I actually pulled a double feature that night. I went right after Mortal Kombat. I drove over to our sister theater, and I screened one of the prints of Army of the Dead by Zack Snyder. So that showed up. Netflix releases their movies a week early for the theatrical release, and then they release it on Netflix the following Friday, typically. And so I went and saw that. Zack Snyder's doing Zack Snyder things.
That's all right.
It's just okay. I still love Dawn of the Dead, probably the most out of any of his movies that he's ever made. I think, even though I really enjoy Man of Steel, and some of the properties that he has done with DC, but as far as like a total movie, I think Dawn of the Dead is his best work, period. So, but this, I wanted more Dawn of the Dead. Essentially, like, I would have been okay if this takes place in the Dawn of the Dead universe. I don't think it does, but I might be wrong.
A lot of malls.
I'm pretty sure that this does not take place in the same universe. It's just another set of zombies kind of thing. I think it would have been cooler if it was a continuation somewhat of Dawn of the Dead. But I should have watched Dawn of the Dead before I went and saw this again. But I really, he does some really cool things with some of the zombie things, but for the most part, it's just blah. Almost kind of like what I told Shane earlier today, and I've said it numerous times on this podcast. Netflix is worried about content. Like, they want quantity of content, not quality of content. And so I feel like they probably gave him the reins to do whatever he wanted, but like, this just didn't have a good enough hook for me to, like, I was like, okay, I'm watching a zombie movie. I'll probably never watch it again. And there's nothing completely memorable about the movie. So
I figure they were trying to feed off the Justice League momentum.
I don't know I don't know when they made this movie or whatever, but yeah, definitely releasing it right now. It seems like it's definitely feeding off that. So, but those were the only two things that I've watched this week, I think.
Right on.
Besides my regular serials on television. So
sure. Well, I went out in public on Friday because a movie came out that I was really hyped and excited for. I went to the newest theater here in Indianapolis. It's called the Living Room Theater. Living Room Lounge is a bar where I accidentally told my GPS to take me to that day. But I eventually made it to the Living Room Theater, and I watched the new Spiral film, the Spiral Book of Saw movie, which is one that I have been wanting to see since the first trailer came out. I enjoy the Saw franchise. I know Jason considers it like gore porn, and I don't argue that at all, but there's just, I enjoy how it started out in those first 2 or 3 movies. I really liked the storytelling and interweaving of there's multiple stories going on at the exact same time. And I like the way that they layer the things that are going on and how it all comes together. Later on, when it's like the disciples of Jigsaw doing stuff, it's not as good. But this new movie is a good story, and it's very similar to the very first Saw movie, where there's actually a reason that the person is doing the things that they are doing. And honestly, I figured out who the killer was and why the killer did it within the first 10 minutes of the movie, like literally to the exact detail of why the killer did it. Because there's like 3 lines of dialogue that if you put them together, like you'll catch it. Like a normal movie going person that's not like us isn't going to catch it and is still going to enjoy the twist at the end. But like
ruining it for everybody, because now everybody's going to be watching it for those 3 lines and trying to figure out if they know it the way Shane figured it out.
Well, and they probably
get your
will.
money back.
I figured it out really quickly.
But the thing is I still enjoyed it despite the fact that I figured it out. And I don't know if I enjoyed it because they did what I wanted them to do. And I'm like, you did exactly what I wanted, so I like this movie. But I mean, it's fine. Like, it's nothing amazing. It's not groundbreaking in any way. But I enjoy the fact that the killer has a reason behind his motives, and I mean, the movie's non-linear, so obviously I'm going to enjoy that. It jumps all around in time between different time periods of when these cops are doing things. Really liked this story. I had fun with it, but I didn't enjoy paying as much as I did. So I wish they would have done theater at home with this one, so I could have just watched it at home and chilled out watching it. I mean, I enjoyed the theater experience and getting a beer and a pizza and watching the movie, but it was far more expensive than I wish it would have been. Why are you shaking your head at me, Jason?
Well, first of all, my question would be, do you think this is better? Do you think Saw 1's better or this one?
I mean, I know you hate Saw 1, but I love it, so I would probably still say Saw 1's better.
No, I don't hate Saw 1. I hate the ending of Saw 1 because it makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. That's my problem with Saw 1. Saw 2 I hate all the way through until the ending, and I like the ending. But Saw 1 I think is a solid movie until they do the stupid ass crap they do at the end. So yeah, I was just wondering which one you would think would be better, the first Saw or this?
Well, I might actually say Spiral is better overall. Like, because I understand your argument about the end of Saw, even though it doesn't bother me. Like, I still really like it. I think it's cool what they say happened in the movie, but I mean, I don't know. They're pretty much right on par with each other, but Spiral may be a little bit better of a movie.
I think the other reason I was shaking my head is because you're spoiled just like I am. And the fact that we don't pay for movies.
Correct.
We watch everything that we want to watch, and we watch things that we don't want to watch even.
Sure.
But I think $40 for a day where you get to go away and have 2 beers and a pizza. I mean, if you went to a bar, you're looking at a tab of $25 at least.
Sure. Yeah.
So
I just enjoy being that barnacle on you guys' ass that gets to enjoy those free movies. So thank you very much.
Well, yeah, but I mean, and you don't use us all the time either. I know you watch movies at other places, which is fine. If you want to spend your hard-earned money on movies, then you do so. That's what the majority of the public do.
Those peasants.
Hey man, I love those peasants. Hopefully they'll be employed at my current job longer. So but yeah, like I don't know. Like I think when I went to Mortal Kombat, I ended up spending like $25 or $28 or something like that. And sure. I didn't miss the fact that I did that. Sure, I could have spent $15 to have HBO Max and watch it that day, but
sure.
That did just remind me. I forgot. I did watch that Angelina Jolie new one. To Those Who Wish Me Dead.
Oh, is it any good? Is it worth it?
It is horrible.
Oh, okay.
I don't understand the title. It makes zero sense. No one actually wished her dead at any point.
I thought it was the kid. I thought they were wishing the kid dead.
So the title, I guess this is from the kid's point of view. They want the kid dead. I mean, not a lot of people wish them dead. Maybe 2 people. Tops.
Okay.
So
interesting.
And then all this whole smoke jumper background and these firefighters who don't actually fight fires. They didn't actually show them fighting a fire. They showed them doing parachuting and a bunch of dumb shit, but no one actually fought a fire, really.
Interesting.
And Angelina Jolie was just, hey, let's get this Oscar caliber actress and waste her in this movie.
Like, so 2 weeks ago, I saw that was on the list of like movies that are coming out soon, and I was like, I've never heard of this. So I looked up the trailer and watched it, and I was like, number one, I used to have the biggest crush on Angelina Jolie, and unfortunately, she has not aged very well. That, or I'm just bitter about what she did to Brad, because I mean, obviously, I'm a Team Brad all the way. So I don't know which one of those made me, but I watched that trailer and was like, yeah, I really am not sure if I'm going to watch this movie. And with your review, I don't think I will.
You're good.
HBO Max, Shane. Just watch it on HBO Max.
That's the first thing on HBO Max.
If somebody tells me it's not worth my time, I don't give a shit if it's on HBO Max or not. I'm not going to waste my time. I've got a queue of other shit to watch that I actually want to see.
Yeah, you can live without ever watching it. John Bernthal wasted in this movie.
Oh yeah, I forgot he was in it too. Yeah,
no point. Anybody could have played that character.
Side note, since you brought up John Bernthal, and we'll get to Mr.
We'll get to him. Yep.
Get to Punisher soon. But do you guys ever watch oh my gosh, Jeremy Renner, Elizabeth Olsen?
Oh no, I know what you're talking about though.
The one
they got another movie together.
They go and investigate like a murder on a Indian Indian ground or something.
Well, it's a reservation.
It's an Indian reservation. Thank you.
Yeah. So that movie is called Wind River.
Yes.
Oh.
I highly recommend that movie if you haven't seen it.
Is it on it? Is it on a streamer?
Ooh, that's a good question. I can pull that up for us real quick. But yeah, like this movie, I will say that it's definitely dark.
Mm-hmm.
So you definitely want to. It's not a feel-good movie at all, but it's super good. It's on Roku channel.
Okay.
But besides that, it's not on any.
I'll try to hunt it down.
It was on Netflix for a long time.
Okay.
But yeah, Wind River. It's and John Bernthal has a small part in it. But it's fantastic, but it's also like really messed up. So it's
interesting. Yeah.
It's not like as dark as like Seven, but it's like a half step towards Seven essentially.
Okay.
Like it's really messed up. So
interesting.
Really well done. So.
All right. Well, that's a lot of talk about stuff we watched recently. Now let's talk about stuff we watched years ago. First up, we're gonna go this way. We'll talk about the ABC shows. Then we will talk about the Netflix shows. Yep. And then we'll talk about the Hulu shows. And then we will finish with the Disney Plus shows that we've seen and the ones that are coming up. And we'll talk about which ones of those we're excited about. Yes, sir. So, the young gentleman in the Cyclops shirt.
So my question for you, did you just call me nerd?
Never.
Ahmed Batman. That's all I can remember.
Oh, Abed. Batman Abed.
Batman.
Sorry, Abed Batman. We're on your list. You didn't include. I'm seeing things that some are MCU and some are not MCU. Correct. I think,
but they all were still under Marvel Studios, I believe, under Marvel or what Marvel was at that point in time.
Okay, all right. I know that I love The Gifted, and it's not on this list, so I just don't know. Like,
good point. No, so why did you send me that?
That's not in the same universe.
I didn't know.
That's a good point.
So, but anyway, let's go.
I digress.
Well, I mean, we can when we get to like the Hulu area, we can talk about that because I completely forgot about that series.
I think The Gifted's in next week's episode.
Well, that's possible. We'll see how long we go here. So the first show that Marvel did as a television series was right after the Avengers and right after they killed Coulson. They decided they wanted to bring Coulson back and give us a TV show. Yeah, right. And give us a TV show that I was super excited for that definitely had its ups and downs. And that was Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I know I was super excited when it got announced. I assume both of you guys were also.
Oh, yeah. Coulson was one of my favorite characters in that. Yeah.
So they brought him back. They introduced Daisy from the beginning. They eventually got her to the point where she was Quake. Over the seasons, they had some really good. I really enjoyed the Ghost Rider arc that they did.
That's about the last good season they had.
Yeah, well, see, that's a problem. Like the time travel, the last season with all the time travel that was going on.
Okay.
Obviously, I love time travel, and obviously, my favorite episode of the entire show was Zeke and Mac's Excellent Adventure.
Yes, that was good.
Like, that episode was just phenomenal. Why are you shaking your head? You didn't have fun with that episode? It was so fine. 80s cheesy.
It was all the 90s feels.
I didn't love it like you did. It was fun.
Oh, man. I loved that episode.
It was great.
So they had, like, Inhuman stuff going on in one season. Like we said, we had the Ghost Rider season.
I thought that was great. I mean, the first season probably still going to be my favorite because it actually tied in with the MCU.
Sure.
And they even had the whole Hydra thing, Clipper, Winter Soldier. I mean, that was the last legitimate. I mean, they had parts of Thor: The Dark World that kind of tied into.
Sure.
But I think that again was all first season, and then after that, they just took a straight right turn and never looked back.
Yeah, it really just felt like they were trying to distance it from the actual MCU stuff, and because in the first season you had Nick Fury show up once, Maria Hill show up a couple of times. They talked about Captain America.
Sif showed up.
What's that?
Sif showed up too.
Oh yeah, Sif showed up. Yep.
Sif.
So it was really a bummer in the later seasons where it felt like they were purposely forcing themselves away from the stuff that was going on in the MCU. Well, was it the first season or was it the second season that had the tie into the Winter Soldier movie, the Hydra stuff?
It might have been the second season. I can't remember if it was first or second.
Yeah,
I think it's first because the stuff with Bill Pullman, who was the main bad guy at the very end, that was all first season.
Not Pullman, Bill
Paxton.
Sorry,
that was still first season.
It was long. They took a mid break in there.
Okay,
and that's when they showed you the one scene with the Winter Soldier with Nick being chased and everything, and then it tied in with the Hydra stuff, and he was the main bad guy by the end of it. So I think that was all one long ass first season.
Well,
and then they never looked back.
Well, and the weird thing is from what I understood, like, so you had Marvel TV Studios and then Marvel Movie Studios, who were both under the Marvel Studios, and then at one point they like merged them and just made it one huge thing.
Yeah.
But Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was one of those shows that, from if I remember correctly, like they kind of like Marvel wanted it dead in like season 4.
Yeah,
getting
good enough ratings that they were like, well, we really shouldn't pull the plug, kind of deal.
Was season 4 or 5? 5 was the one where they go to the future, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I thought that was season 6.
Was that 6?
They broke it.
Maybe 5 was the whole construct thing where they were all inside a computer.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. 6 was in the future.
It was the Matrix. 7, they were doing the Matrix.
7, they came back and had broken time, and they had to fix it.
Yeah. So, okay.
But yeah.
And the good thing is, like, season 7 did some good stuff. Like, the next show we're going to talk about is Agent Carter, and season 7 gave us Edgar or Enver Gorgic or whatever his name is, Sousa.
Yeah.
They got Sousa involved. Like, I enjoyed that.
That was a good
that was cool.
I thought the way that they killed him was really cool and clever.
Yep.
Overall, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., it's like I probably like 60% of the show.
Yeah, I can get behind that.
I think it's more likable than unlikable, but
it definitely had some lulls of bad episodes in a row and some bad subplots and
like while the girl was, what was that Inhuman girl that showed up, the blonde who was like the
blonde with the sword knife things or whatever.
Yeah. She was weird. Like it almost felt like insignificant to the whole thing. You could have cut that character completely.
Sure.
I liked what they did with Grant. Was that his name from the first?
Yeah. How he became the Hive in like season 3 or whatever.
I didn't like that.
Is he a bad guy? Is he a good guy?
First 2 seasons with him like being a good guy, and then you watching
a bad guy,
and everything else. And I thought that was really cool. But yeah, so and I mean, I'm glad that I've seen every single episode.
Sure.
For a while, I fell behind, and I think it was season 6. I stopped watching it while it was airing, and then I ended up marathoning through Netflix on season 6, and then I had to wait for season 7 because I screwed up my DVR somehow of like only recording like the last 5 episodes instead of all of the episodes.
All of it. Gotcha.
And so like I was like, oh, watch this, and it's like this week, this is what happened last week, and or a recap, and I'm like, I want the first episode. And so I had to blast that on Netflix. But yeah, it was a good show.
I really enjoyed the entire 7-season story arc that we got with Fitz and Simmons, even though later in the shows, sometimes we would go long periods of time without one or the other of them, which sort of got annoying, but it was also a really good, like, as like the only major real romantic relationship on the show, how they kept bringing them together, and you think they're going to be a couple, and then something happens to one of them that pulls them away. It got a little annoying from time to time, and especially not understanding season 7 until the last episode. I was really flustered with their relationship in season 7, but once the time trick is explained to you, I was a lot less upset about it. It made a lot more sense how it wasn't actually the amount of time that I thought that it was.
The show's just inconsistent. It had a lot of great parts, even minor characters like the Mockingbird and the other spy dude whose name I can't remember right now. The one they gave the spies goodbye to. Yep. I thought that was great. I almost got teary-eyed on that one. But
the British dude, what was the British dude's name?
Yeah, I can't think of the British dude's name, but them together.
Because they were supposed to get their own TV show spin-off or whatever, which would have been so much fun.
And that got canceled quickly.
Yeah.
But it had a lot of potential. It just fell through.
I have a feeling, looking back now, that around that time that it got announced and then canceled really quickly was probably the very early stages of Disney Plus being talked about, and Marvel going, we're going to want to develop shows for our own platform and not for ABC.
Yep, that sounds about right.
Weird. Runs all owns ABC, so you think that they would want something on their regular television channel.
Why? Why, when you can make people pay for it on Disney Plus?
Yeah, but
why would you give it away for free?
I don't know. I'm following you, but I mean, there's got to be there has to be money. Money has to be made off of television shows still. So if it doesn't, they're not going to keep making them.
Sure.
Or else, literally, I mean, we'll probably get to the point where everything is streaming anyway at some point.
I agree.
To have instead of having 300 channels on your cable box, you'll be subscribed to 300 streaming services.
Yep. So Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. After that, we got Agent Carter, which was bringing back the character from the first Captain America movie, bringing back a couple of the characters minorly, like Dum Dum Dugan and the Howlers. Yeah. Bringing them back for very
Howard
minor
Stark
parts.
For a minute. Yeah.
And Howard Stark for a few, yeah. This show, honestly, I've only ever watched season 1 of it. I don't know what happened that I didn't get around to watching season 2. I know it's on Disney Plus, and I should watch it.
It's worth the once.
Is it? The first season was just very blah to me. I liked, if I remember right, they kind of showed us the early Red Room in Russia. Like, you kind of get the vibe that, like, we saw the 40s version of the Red Room when they were training the female bad guy at the end of the season.
Yeah.
And then I their storytelling narrative bothered me, but I eventually got over it. But being a big Stark family fan, I didn't enjoy the twisting everything to make Howard Stark the bad guy. But I accept and understand that it's a storytelling narrative of, as a viewer, I know the facts are being twisted, but still the way that everybody was acting and talking about Howard Stark just kind of flustered me while watching it.
Yeah. I like how it was a nice prequel tie-in to everything. I mean, it was very nice that following Captain America First Avengers, I feel. And I think she did a great job. I think she rocked that show. The second season definitely didn't have that same kind of heart as the first season.
Really?
You could tell it was kind of leading into some kind of Inhuman tie-in. I think that was right about the time they were starting to kind of tiptoe into the Inhumans a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But they did the right thing. It was probably time for it to go. 2 seasons, that's all it really needed.
Did you watch both seasons, Jason?
I did really enjoy Jarvis in both of the seasons. He's a great place.
What I want to say about Jarvis, I don't know the actor's name, but I love the fact that they cast a dude that I literally think looks like Vision.
Voice.
Yeah. Why am I drawing a blank on Jarvis's name or on Vision's name?
Paul Bettany.
Paul Bettany. Every time I remember when I watched the first season, watching it, I was always like, oh man, this dude really looks like Paul Bettany to me. Maybe it's because they're both British and they have just like thin faces, maybe. But like, I did enjoy the fact that this guy who was Jarvis, that then became Jarvis the AI, and then became Vision, I see a resemblance, like, a cousin resemblance, if nothing else. But I like the fact that I think that they look similar. Sorry to interrupt you. I just wanted to say that about Jarvis.
No, I think the main launching point for this TV show was definitely the one shot that they did.
Yeah.
I think that they did that one shot, weren't expecting it to be so well received.
Sure.
And I think that's what kind of launched them doing these seasons. But it was it's a lot of fun. I really like the costume aspect and doing it in the 40s and 50s. I think. Well,
and if I remember right, I remember the like set design being very plain because it was set in the 40s and whatnot. Like it just wasn't. Yeah, like very like the walls weren't like super decorated or anything. The diner, I remember being a pretty plain diner. Like
it's still nice to see the retro.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure.
So, but yeah, I really enjoyed Peggy Carter doing all this stuff, and I don't know if you guys remember this or not. Her boss at Shield, or the SS, what was it?
SSR?
Yeah, the
Shea Wingham was the one in the first season, at least.
He's the one who sacrificed himself?
Yes, he gets.
I definitely teared up on that one when he.
Dude, that was rough.
When he put on the vest and he went out the window. So.
Well, I mean, the vest was put on him I guess he put it on, but he was mind controlled to put it on or whatever. But yeah, his sacrifice was pretty insane.
Yeah, that was just an awesome moment. Overall, that's probably the moment that sticks in my brain the most. Spoiler alert, I'm sorry if you haven't seen it and we ruined it for you if you were going to watch it. But yeah, like that's not the only thing that happens, but it's, in my opinion, probably the most like.
Well, I remember, I mean, not that, spoiler alert again, I remember them killing off quite a few of the people in the SSR that had been around for most of the sea. Like the last couple episodes, if I remember right, like 3 or 4 of the guys get killed off or something.
It makes me laugh though, because it's like, here's the SSR and they're supposed to be these awesome super spies, and they get infiltrated when Captain America is first created, and then they get infiltrated during this, and I'm like, what is this, 24 set in the 1940s? CTU can't keep terrorists out of their own organization at all. So
man, it's such a great show if they just would have stopped using that plot device after the first season.
Every single
season somebody in CTU is a mole.
And they always let everybody in, and they were always being held captive or hostage or whatever. So
that show would be called 3 minutes if they just listened to Jack. That show would be over. If they actually just believed Jack when Jack said do something.
The dude saves the country year after year after year, president after president, and nobody believes him. Every time he comes down, he's like, "Mr. President," and he's like, "No, that's not what's happening."
I believe him. Let me kneecap a few people and electrocute them. Oh, he cut some dude's head off? He might be right.
Jack Bauer was badass. I miss good Jack Bauer. All right, so after Agent Carter, and I will plan to watch the second season at some point. I'll make time for it. Right. I will. It's MCU. I want to watch it, especially if you guys say it's worth watching. This next one is one that previously, before this week, I'd only watched the first 2 episodes. I was not impressed, so I never finished it, but I wanted to be able to talk about it tonight. So this week I watched Inhumans over the course of like 3 days.
Why? No.
I'm really disappointed because number one, I love Anson Mount as an actor, and I thought he was okay with what he was given.
Where he didn't talk?
Yeah. What I'm saying is like I felt like he had a presence about himself where he was that strong character that he needed to be for a guy that doesn't talk. I enjoyed
it. It works.
Yeah, I enjoyed his facial expressions. I enjoyed his pensive faces and whatnot. But literally, this was fucking a soap opera. Like,
dude.
It was not very enjoyable. There was not.
No.
They purposely did the fish out of water stuff. Okay, so they put their entire budget into the first episode where Medusa actually had hair and where we actually see young Black Bolt do some stuff, and we see their city and stuff. Blew their budget on the first episode. Cut Medusa's hair off, so you didn't have to do that for the rest of the
CG. Yep.
They literally just cut their budget down to nothing. Threw them in Hawaii, where ABC's known for filming Lost, and put them there with all this drama going on, but no real plot or story at all.
Yep, and
it was really a letdown. And the cast is fairly good because I also like the guy that played Black Bolt's brother, the dude from Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones. He was the same
Misfits.
character from Game of Thrones.
Yeah, he's awesome in Misfits.
Yeah, much cooler in Misfits, but yeah.
But yeah, it was literally just it was a fucking soap opera. There's drama. And nothing superhero-y or cool ever really happened.
Yeah. I think there's a reason it got canceled.
I mean, Karnak was okay, and he did his time stuff a couple of times.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, overall, that show was not fun to watch or enjoyable. I really was not enjoying it. Jason, it sounds like you didn't like it either.
I watched I don't even think I made it through the first 2 episodes when they were free. I tried and I was like, no, I'm done. Not even.
Me and Dave did the movie theater thing because they showed the first 2 at the IMAX.
Yeah. Yep.
And we thought, oh, this is going to be great. It's going to be IMAX. How bad could it be? And then I was like, oh, it's getting worse. It's on TV.
Yeah.
You, as a Marvel fan, you're invested, so you kind of have to. Just to say that you did.
Yep.
But that one I could live without.
Going back to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., it was Lance Hunter and Bobby Morse.
There you go. Yes. Hunter and Morse. Yes. The season or 2 half seasons that they were on were very enjoyable. And I liked their characters a lot.
Yes.
All right. So those are all the 3 that were aired on ABC. We're now going to move into the Netflix shows, which I think Netflix hit it out of the park. I know there's we'll get. I'm sure you guys will have some of the criticisms that we can talk about on some of the series, but overall, I loved all of the stuff that they did on Netflix.
Yeah.
Starting with Daredevil, the first show they put out in 2015 was Daredevil. Second season was 2016. Third season was 2018. Charlie Cox was awesome. The first season was awesome that they kept him with the original black costume. The very generic low-budget black costume. They kind of skipped over the yellow costume and went straight to his red costume for season 2, which is totally fine.
Fine with that.
Yep, looked awesome. I really enjoyed the costume. I really enjoyed. It was near the end of season 1, though, right? He went to the guy that made him the costume at the end of season, last couple episodes.
Taylor.
Yes. Yeah. So then we got that for most of season 2. I didn't care for the fact that he went back to the all-black costume in season 3 because Bullseye was running around in his red costume.
Yeah.
I didn't care. I felt like that was kind of a step backwards. I understand why they did it for the plot they were telling, but it was kind of disappointing to me that he went back to the not cool costume, in my opinion, but still really enjoyed all 3 seasons. They went progressively downhill.
I like the 3rd season.
You did?
I mean, I will take it as a baseline all the way across. Every season was as good. Everybody loved the 2nd season because of the Punisher was introduced, and it was great.
Yep.
But first season, and everybody will tell you when you watch the first season, if you don't like it past the 2nd episode with one long, drawn-out fight scene,
the hallway fight scene,
and every season they do a scene like that. One long take.
2nd season was the stairwell, right?
Stairwell and a little elevator in that one. And but they did it twice because the Punisher had one too, and he got in the prison.
The prison fight was really good too.
Yeah, there's no cuts. It's just carnage, and it was great.
But
the story and the heart with him and Foggy and their relationship and Karen and their relationship, I think it had everything. I had 0 complaints. And then the Punisher added that whole, is he a good guy? Is he a bad guy part of it too?
Sure. Well, and I am one of those people. I like the 2nd season, 1st season, 3rd season, because I just didn't. The whole baseball aspect with Bullseye, I just didn't buy into. Like, and I went while I was watching the season at that point. I looked it up, and apparently that's what they did with Bullseye in like the 90s or the early 2000s.
Yeah.
So I didn't know that they had done that like in the comics, but the baseball thing was just rough for me to buy into.
It's like OCD with that kind of repetitive training where he just didn't miss. I mean, it made sense from the book to that. And I like the guy who did the Bullseye. I mean, he had like he was ill, messed up in the head. So I dug it. I like it. He just wasn't some Colin Farrell. I mean, ride on top of a motorcycle and toss things off and I never miss kind of guy. Yeah.
He wasn't another lawyer though, was he? What was his he was a cop? A cop, yeah.
He was a cop, but he was already kind of crazy.
Crazy, yeah.
And
Mayor, what are your thoughts on the Daredevil 3 seasons? How would you rank them?
2 then 1. I've never watched all of 3.
Oh, really? Oh.
Yeah, so I didn't watch The Defenders. So what ended up happening was I was like, I don't want to. I watched. When did that come out? That came after seasons 1 of Luke Cage and season 1 of Jessica Jones is when Defenders rolled out, right?
After the first season of Iron Fist 2. It was Iron Fist got 1 season in.
Okay, so that was the problem, right? So like I liked Daredevil a lot. I liked the second season of Daredevil. Then I watched, Daredevil, Jessica Jones. Then it went back to Daredevil second season.
Yep. And then Luke Cage. And then Iron Fist.
I liked all of that. And then I watched Iron Fist and I got halfway through that season and I just couldn't finish it, man. I wasn't interested. So then I got all excited when Daredevil 3 came out, and then I was like, oh, this is going to be great. And then I turned on season 1 or episode 1 of that season, and it was like showing me stuff that I was like, I have no idea what's going on right here.
You had to watch Defenders.
Did I fall asleep in like season 2 for the last couple of episodes? And then I walked back and I was like, no, I watched all of that. And it was like, well, this is continuing the story of the Defenders. And I was like, son of a poo. So I've never gone back and I've never watched Defenders. So I've watched Daredevil 1 and 2. I watched Jessica Jones 1 and 2. I know I watched 1. I know I watched
2 was not at best, but yeah.
All right, well let's move on to Jessica Jones then, and we'll talk real quick. First season of Jessica Jones with Kilgrave was absolutely amazing.
Yes, Tennant knocked it out.
Loved David Tennant in that episode or in that season. He did a phenomenal job. Season 2 of Jessica Jones, I did not enjoy nearly as much. The whole chasing her mother situation was just very blah as a villain, in my opinion. And then you've got her best Patsy Walker, Patsy Walker, like wanting to be a superhero, and that was a pretty lame subplot that was going on.
Dude, you know what's messed up is I was watching the first season of Jessica Jones. And her sister, you said Patsy Walker.
Patsy Walker. Yeah. She becomes Hellcat, but yeah.
So she's in that. She was the blonde in Transformers. Transformers. And don't get me wrong, I think she's very attractive in Jessica Jones, but she's like Playboy, Playmate attractive in the first Transformers movie. And so
Michael Bay.
Oh yeah, definitely. But it was just one of those moments of like, wow, she's hot, like super hot.
Oh yeah.
And I love, I don't know about you guys, but accents do it for me. So a woman talking an Australian or British accent will definitely do things.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I appreciated the way she looked and talked in Transformers, and I liked her character in Jessica Jones. The first season of Jessica Jones is very top notch. Like,
David Tennant, beginning to end, no bad episodes. I thought,
and I thought for sure, like when he was doing the Purple Man, that it was going to be like at some point in time, like
a Purple Man,
a Joker thing, where like maybe he was wearing makeup over his like purpleness, and then the fact that they just put him in purple suits the entire time, and we're just like, it's his pheromones, like that's it.
That's great.
And I was just like, oh, that's actually kind of cool because you're keeping it way more around reality. So,
loved it.
Jason, did you watch season 2?
I think I began that season because I remember her like starting to look into her mom. I don't think I finished it.
Gotcha. Season 3 gets a lot worse. Unfortunately, Jessica Jones is a very downhill slope. Season 3.
Is there a season 3?
Yeah, the season 3 where Trinity like hires her, and then they've got the Asian guy that is running like the competitive business, and he starts trying to blackmail Trinity and stuff like that.
I thought that was all 2.
No, that's season 3.
I like how you're calling her Trinity.
Yeah.
It's just Trinity.
Carrie Ann Moss. Thank you. Yeah. That's all season 3. Well, it's the guy that she Patsy Walker is breaking into his apartment to get the footage of the fact that he was like sexually assaulting her friend or somebody. And then it's when Patsy Walker basically tries to take the super soldier serum.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very terrible season. It's really bad. Well, you know what? I guess she took that serum in season 2, because at the end of season 2, the whole mother situation, she has her powers, but then season 3, it's her trying to be a powerful super person.
That's coming back to me. Okay.
Yeah, season 3 is not very enjoyable. Not worth talking about. Luke Cage is definitely worth talking about, because both seasons of Luke Cage are top notch. I loved Mahershala Ali in the first season. The best thing about Luke Cage, in my opinion, and we've talked about it on this show before, about like how music being brought into like movies specifically, but the fact that there is a nightclub or a bar scene,
our own paradise.
Every single episode features a musical guest that has it's usually a musical montage of them performing, and then somebody getting the shit beat out of them, or some other thing going on in town. But the fact that they did that both seasons, every episode had that, was I whoever's in charge of the show, or whoever decided like we're gonna make music part of the storytelling of this, is fucking brilliant. Because that was the best thing about Luke Cage. The Hail to the Chief song, the minute I heard it, put it on my R&B playlist on iTunes, and I'd like, that is of all how many episodes, 26 episodes, like that is the one song and scene that sticks out the most to me, and I absolutely love that song.
Agreed. I think it, and somebody said it before, it's a love letter to Harlem.
Oh, sure,
Yeah, that whole first season especially, it was a long love letter to Harlem.
Well, and the best thing about this first season specifically is, like, Luke Cage just wants to be a normal dude, but everybody around him knows what he's capable of doing and expects it of him, and like he's just not trying to be like that. Like, he's just trying to live his life at the barber shop and like be cool. Also, I know he's in the first season. I can't remember. I think he might have done one episode in the second season, but Ronald Cephas Jones. I can't remember his character's name, but he is just a fucking badass character that just hangs around the barbershop, and he's just that old dude that's just got the information, and he's just so suave and cool and plays chess all the time. He's just such a great character.
Yeah. I thought, and the whole thing with Pops and everything, I just thought it was great.
Yep.
And the second season leading
with that. Oh, no, go ahead.
No, I was just saying the second season leading to him to actually being challenged by Bushmaster and everything. All you see is him pretty much unstoppable, bulletproof, who can step up, and then Bushmaster actually knocks him on his ass. Mm-hmm. That was a nice twist to it. I mean, I did love the twist in the first one with his brother being the bad guy.
Sure.
I love Mahershala, and it's sad that he got killed so quickly.
Yep.
But the brother thing was a nice twist at the end.
Agreed.
But by the end of season 2, where he is pretty much the next Cottonmouth Big E combination, sitting there like the boss man, and then you're like, well, it's canceled. I'm like, what?
Well, and his origin story episode was one of my favorites for the fact that when he like breaks out of the thing, he's in that like weird ass yellow shirt and the thing on. Yeah. I just love the fact that they're like, we're gonna throw this from that comic book cover in there, because I was like, that's the most
Power Man.
Yeah, Power Man outfit. Mayor, what were you gonna say?
I remember. I don't remember what it was at the end of season 1. I remember liking all of. I want to say I liked all of season 1 except for the last 1 or 2 episodes. And I think my problem was like it just felt like it came out of left field when they were like, I'm your brother. Like it just felt to me like it wasn't something that they had set up properly. And it was just kind of an easy cop out. But for the most part, the rest of it was really, really good.
Well, and congrats to the writers of it on giving us Mahershala Ali and having this like badass villain that you're like, oh, this is going to be the villain this whole show. And halfway through, he gone, and you've got a new villain that you got to deal with.
And the guy who was in Sons of Anarchy, who plays the snake.
Juice.
Juice, yeah.
Shades.
Yeah. God, I can't remember that dude's name.
Theo Rossi.
Good job. You are on it, yeah.
He's also in Army of the Dead.
So. Oh, is he?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I had just finished Sons of Anarchy, I think, by the time that I just within a couple of months of me watching Luke Cage and being like, nice. Oh damn,
it's Juice. So yeah, we all love Luke Cage. Luke Cage, I think, was one of the better. Like I said, I think both seasons are solid. Like it doesn't really have very many bad episodes. I thought it was really good. The next series is one that I didn't dislike, and I don't know why a lot of people hated Iron Fist the way they did, but I enjoyed it.
Cannot finish that series, man.
I love the kung fu karate aspect of it. They bring in Colin Wing in the second season, and they add Misty. Like I really enjoyed it
too. They were both in the first.
Oh, Colin Wing. Yeah, you're right. Well, Misty was the detective in the first season.
And from Luke Cage. But I like what they did with what they had to work with. I wanted more of him being Iron Fist, unless a whiny kid. But I get it. He had like PTSD of his own kind, so they did ground him again and make him a little bit more human. I would say the first season was definitely better than the second.
Sure, I'll agree with that.
And the second had potential, and it was getting there, especially with the Typhoid Mary thing that they were bringing in and everything. Yep. But by the last episode, it got off the rails, because when they went to the Iron Fist with the 6-shooter, which has happened in the comic books, it has happened in the comic books, but that show, it was done.
Well, and I'm looking at the release dates. It was one of the later ones that came out, like near the very end. So it potentially could have been where like the writers and the people involved knew like we're not getting renewed for any more of these shows. Like it doesn't really matter what we do anymore. Like the enjoyment of working on the show may have been already going downhill by the time it was being done. I mean, I don't know, but it's one of the last things that came out. It's the second to last thing that got released. So it was probably, third to last thing that got released. So they probably had an idea that, they're not getting renewed no matter what.
Yeah. Might as well have just said, fuck it, we're out.
Yeah. So then we had the 8 episodes of The Defenders, and like, I feel bad that you haven't watched it, Jason. Like, I loved the fact that they built up all these characters and brought them together for a really good, like, well, here's the thing, like, Defenders took a while to get off the ground for me. The fourth episode of Defenders is where they all finally come together and meet.
Yep.
So it was kind of a 3-episode slow buildup of like, here's a couple of the characters and like 2 of them get together for a while and these 2 get together for a while. And like, they're interacting a little bit because all their paths are crossing. But in episode 4, once they all finally come together, like that fight sequence was awesome.
In the hallway,
Yeah, no, in the. I mean, I guess it spilled into it started in the like the meeting room or whatever.
The meeting room, and then
it spilled out into the hallway. Yeah, and they all were showing up for different reasons, and then all helping each other. Like I thought that was really cool. And then they go and they have a meal together to figure out like why the fuck are we all here? Like what's going on? So yeah, once that moment happened and they were all like, why are we all interested in the same thing? The rest of the series I felt like just went way up, and the rest of it I really enjoyed.
It did. I would agree with that. I think it did take a little too long for them to get together.
For sure.
I could have used more time of them together. Because even after they finally got together, they still found reasons for Daredevil to go his own way. And Jessica to go do it like, I'm not a team, I'm gonna go over here and do my own thing, and then they'll come back together again.
Yep.
So I think they needed more screen time together, because every time they were together, I think it was magical. I mean, they had their little fights, they had that, and then you got Sigourney Weaver as the bad guy.
That was pretty bad. Yeah.
It was bad / Electro, however they want to do it. But I enjoyed it for a low budget Avengers. They were street level Avengers. I thought it was good.
It was. I had a lot of fun with it. I really enjoyed the series. So yeah, Jason, I would highly recommend checking it out sometime. I feel like even if you haven't watched the other shows, like who the characters are, so you can. It's like if somebody went and watched the Avengers without watching the Phase 1 movies, like they still know who these people are.
Yeah.
Like I feel like you could get through it and still enjoy it.
The best parts are when they are together. Yeah.
Oh, dude! And so before we move on to the Punisher, who was introduced in Daredevil, I forgot to ask you about your Daredevil hat.
Oh, this little guy?
Yeah.
Yes,
what's so special about that hat?
Leather Daredevil hat signed by Daredevil himself, Charlie Cox. I mean, Ben Affleck was not available, but Charlie Cox signed that for me. I met him at a Comic-Con.
Which Comic-Con were you at?
I think that one was a Chicago.
Was it a Chicago one?
I think that was Chicago one.
Okay.
Because I don't think he came to Indy, and I don't remember it being that far. But yeah, so he signed this one, which I used to wear all the time. So I had to go buy another one that I could wear because this one just sits on a mannequin head, which is weird.
I like it. So the last Netflix show that we got was the spinoff from season 2 of Daredevil. We got 2 seasons of Punisher, which I love the first season and I like the second season. I feel like the story in the first season was really solid, really enjoyable, and really cool. The fallout from what happened in Daredevil season 2, the fallout from him being the sniper and helping and whatnot, and then going off on his own. I felt like the first season of Daredevil was really solid with him dealing with all that. Second season of it with him, going on the run and being far away from New York City, I guess I just didn't enjoy that vibe of it so much. But I'll say this, the opening of the Punisher, the series itself, when he's literally murdering mob bosses and all kind of that montage that opens that first episode was just perfect and spot on for getting people to understand who Frank Castle is. Really, really fun and enjoyable. You guys' opinions on the 2 seasons and which one you liked better?
I wanted Frank Grillo to play Frank Castle instead of who they got. But Frank Grillo played Crossbones, so we got that instead. John Barenthal, I think, was fine. His nose bothers me.
Oh man,
dude, that big old knot in the middle of his nose that's just ginormous.
It's been broken 30 times, right?
Which would make sense for the Punisher, right? Because
exactly.
He goes through everything. But yeah, but you know what? This show, I didn't like John Barenthal when I watched him on The Walking Dead, because I feel like his character was a big old piece of shit.
Shame.
Yeah.
Whereas this redeems him as an actor for me, and I started liking him because of this show. Because I think
real quick, my wife wanted to make sure that I shouted out that the Punisher is her all-time favorite Marvel character, and she hated John Barenthal before he was the Punisher, but now she loves him and his ugly ass nose. She's not attracted to him as a person because of his nose, but she loves the character so much that she likes John Barenthal. I apologize. My wife, before we started recording, made sure tell everybody how much I love John Barenthal, so I wanted to make sure and throw that in there.
Pretty much spot on with how I feel about him, man. I thought he was. This show turned it around for me. I think he is awesome as Frank Castle. I loved him as doing the stuff that first season, the stuff he pulls off in that first season.
Bloody
crazy.
So bloody.
Because I brought up my wife, I'll explain. Her and I started dating right a couple of months before the first season of Daredevil hit. So obviously I wanted to watch it and she wanted to hang out with me so we would watch it together. So she watched the first season of Daredevil with me, the second season of Daredevil with me, and the first season of Jessica Jones with me. After that, she fell off and was like, I don't really care about this stuff. We're together now. I don't need to watch it with you anymore. But I love John Barenthal and I love The Punisher. So I always want to watch, during the season 2 of Daredevil, she was like, oh my God, I love this character. I really like The Punisher and I like John Barenthal as him. So when the Punisher show finally ended up coming out, I was like, so the Punisher show's out. And she was like, let's marathon it. So both season 1 and 2, we pretty much, I'm pretty sure season 1 we marathoned in 1 day, and season 2 we marathoned in 2 days. But yeah, so I want to give a shout out to my wife and her love of the character of the Punisher because of this, and she hasn't watched pretty much anything else. So Snow, season 1 and 2, which one's your favorite? Which one?
You might want to introduce her to Dolph Lundgren too. I'm just saying that might change her whole opinion on a lot. Or Thomas Jane, but Ray Livingston.
Ray Winstone.
Ray Winstone, that guy. Yeah. But still, I think Barathol is the Punisher. I mean, the moment he takes over in Daredevil and leading up to this, great.
Well, and what was that? Thomas Jane did like a short 7-minute like YouTube Punisher short film, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
And that was pretty badass. I liked that.
I think. But I think Barathol was the Punisher after that. I think I like both seasons about equally. I think the second one definitely got more bloody.
Agree. There was some stuff that happened in that, like the big bloody bar brawl. Was pretty badass. Okay.
That was absolutely great.
Yeah.
I mean, even when he was, not undercover, but laying low as a construction worker and still found shit to get in, crushed dude with a sledgehammer. I mean,
I forgot that's how they started season 2. That's right. Yeah. Oh, that was really good.
And it ended with him, basically getting all the gangs in a box and blowing them all away. I mean, they definitely channeled the comic book Punisher. Like, he is not a good guy at all.
My wife and I's only complaint is the fact that he doesn't end up back with the bartender at the end of the show.
And he did that to save her life.
The whole way that they set that up at the beginning of the show, I was like, he's going to get the last scene of this show is him getting pulling back up to her bar or him coming and sitting at her bar. And they just didn't do it, which really disappointed me.
Had to do it to save her life. That's what I keep telling myself with that.
I guess.
Yeah.
So that is the Netflix series that they did. Unfortunately, a lot of them got canceled. Again, pretty sure it was a lot to do with Disney Plus and Marvel
Thanks,
not
Mickey.
wanting to. What's that?
So thank you, Mickey.
Marvel not wanting to keep going on with those so that they could get full rights back to all of these characters, which I believe now is the case for all of them.
Yes.
Because the Punisher was 2019 in January, and I think it was a 2-year moratorium. So, Jessica Jones. Well, June 19th or June of 2019.
That might have been the last show.
Jessica Jones back yet?
We haven't gotten her back yet. No, so Jessica Jones, season 3 was the last thing of Marvel, right? Or
yes.
Daredevil season 3?
No, that was the last thing. Daredevil season 3 was October of 2018.
Okay, so Jones was the last
Daredevil's back, and there's the rumors of Daredevil showing up in the third Spider-Man movie.
Yeah.
There's a lot of rumors. I just want to ask you guys your thoughts on these rumors real quick before we move on from the Netflix series. There's rumors that Charlie Cox is coming back as Daredevil. There's rumors that Jessica Jones, Kristen, why can't I think? What is it?
Spider-Man?
No. The chick that plays Jessica Jones, Kristen.
Wow, you just made me go blank too.
I can't think of her last name.
On it. Yeah, it'll hit me here in a second, but I'm going to look it up because it's.
I feel like a loser.
You're Kristen Ritter.
Kristen Ritter, thank you. So Kristen Ritter. The rumor is that they want the two of them and John Barenthal to be reintroduced in the MCU as their respective characters, but recasting Danny Rand and Luke Cage, which I feel is kind of bullshit. Like Mike Coulter was great as Luke Cage.
Yes.
So
you can get rid of Finn. I'm okay with Finn, but you got to keep Michael Coulter.
Was he a Game of Thrones guy also?
Yeah. That's what another Game of alumni. Yeah.
Which again, I didn't hate Iron Fist. Like I knew who the character was and what he could do, but I don't know if I ever really read Iron Fist comic books, so maybe that's why it didn't bother me at all. I enjoyed the martial arts fighting in it, but I didn't hate it like so many other people did. So recasting of those two and the keeping of the other three, how do you guys feel about that?
I think keep Michael Coulter. Finn can go. I mean, the best part about Iron Fist and Luke Cage in the books is when they're together, because they are heroes for hire. I mean, when they're together. And even in the second season of Iron Fist, they have one episode where Luke came over, and that's probably the best episode of the whole thing.
And I feel like they name drop Heroes for Hire, or like somebody made the joke about like we should call this Heroes for Hire or something
Heroes
like
for
that.
Hire, yeah.
Yeah, I remember some kind of joke like that. Jason, how do you feel about casting?
I think it seems really silly to recast any of them if you're going to bring any of them over. So
I agree.
If you're not recasting all of them, then you shouldn't recast any of them, if that makes any sense.
I totally agree with that thought.
Speaking of which, with these, like, one of my only complaints about all these Netflix series is like, it wouldn't have been hard to help them feel more rooted in the MCU, especially with all of this taking place in New York. And it could have just been as easy as Avengers Tower in the background a little bit.
Yep.
Or even like Jessica, like, I know that at some point they talked about like the green guy or something like that, or somebody
when they were trying to name drop the Hulk.
They're describing the Avengers, but not name dropping them.
Saying their names. Yeah, it's like we have to pay a dime if you have to say their name or something.
I think it would have been cooler if like you would have just had like Jessica Jones like on the street and she like looks up and you hear like Spider-Man's webbing or something.
Oh, that would have been cool.
And like her just be like fucking superheroes or something along those lines. Like just like something, because it's like with how neighborhood Spider-Man is, like you definitely could have had something, just little tiny winks essentially, and I think it would have felt a lot better and a lot more immersive.
Well, and we haven't talked about this character yet at all on all these shows. I loved Rosario Dawson's night nurse type character, bringing them all together. Like, I feel like what they were trying to accomplish with all of these shows was make a very small Hell's Kitchen block of New York City where we're going to keep all these stories. Like, and again, I don't know how close Hell's Kitchen is to Harlem in real life. Like, I don't know New York that well. It's what?
Like like 60 blocks, I think.
60, yeah. So not as small of a area as I was thinking they were maybe trying to do, but I did really love all the times that they would use Rosario Dawson to weave things together because of, you know, her working at a hospital and then people hearing that she's helped other people with powers. So let me introduce you to my friend with powers type thing. So Rosario Dawson was awesome every time she showed up.
I liked her character a lot. Another thing that kind of annoys me is that for other things that take place in the MCU, like I said, this one could have done little tiny nods, but like I would love for Quake to show up in a movie. And I just mean that from a simple standpoint of, like, especially like if she's fighting alongside the Avengers, maybe she's not an Avenger or something, but like she was a part of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Sure.
So, I mean, you could very easily make some generic reason why all of a sudden she shows up and she's like helping, and whether it be in the Hawkeye series or something.
Well, like, and if I think I may have read at some point somewhere that Quake was at one point a part of the Young Avengers.
She was,
which it seems like they're setting up in the MCU with like Wanda Vision or with Wanda's kids and with Kate Bishop and who's the other?
And they got Winter Soldier. They got the other young Captain America.
Not Patriot.
Young Patriot. U.S. The kid, Isaiah Walker's nephew or grandson, but anyway.
Not Isaiah Walker. Isaiah Bradley. Isaiah Bradley's
Yes, Isaiah Bradley's nephew.
It's not Patriot.
At that point in time, unless she's the leader of it, it doesn't make sense because everybody else is going to be a lot younger than she is.
Sure. I would be fine though if they did that. If they have all these characters and they bring them together for a Young Avengers movie and then have her be in charge of them, and that's the way they reintroduce her or introduce her to the MCU. I think that could be cool.
Because I just think she's such a she's a high-powered individual that does.
His name's Patriot.
It is the Patriot?
Just Patriot, yeah.
Just Patriot, okay.
But yeah, I just think it would be really cool to bring back. And, she's very easy on the eyes, so it's not like that would be horrible for us to see.
No, Chloe Bennett is a beautiful woman. She is why I watch Powerpuff Girls.
They got them all lined up. I mean, they got the Wiccan, Speed, Stature is going to be coming from Ant-Man.
From Ant-Man, yep.
So,
Ant-Man's daughter.
Patriot. Yeah.
Yep.
So
there will definitely be a Young Avengers movie at some point in the future, and they've honestly also set it up for a Dark Avenger or West Coast Dark Avengers or whatever the hell they call them.
Yeah, or is that the White Avengers and
West Coast Avengers?
But there's also Dark Avengers.
That's what Norman Osborn's in charge. But, yeah.
Gotcha. So they've obviously got some plans because of all these characters that they've been introducing recently. But I agree that it would be awesome to bring her in as part of the Young Avengers old person, or however they do it. But and then the other weird thing is like when they made her Quake, and around the time of the Inhumans, like they were doing all that stuff because they couldn't do mutants at that point. And now we're enhanced. We're about to get a whole bunch of mutants into the MCU. Could they use that angle in any way to introduce her because she has powers? So we'll see where that goes. Let's move on to the Hulu /Freeform / we're going to add the Fox show to talk about also because I honestly never finished it. Let's start with that one first. Recently, they did The Gifted on Fox. Which was, an X-Men knockoff wannabe spinoff type thing. Yeah. No?
It's an X-Men spinoff. It wasn't a knockoff.
Okay, it was a spinoff.
Okay, a spinoff.
Their names
it took a lot of not great characters and put them into that show, though.
The B to C characters and made them the main stars.
Yeah. I did not finish the first season. I'd say I watched 75% of it. I think it was like a 13-episode arc or whatever. I probably watched 9 or 10 of them, and I need to go and finish it. I can't remember what was going on in my life that maybe like I was watching them, on DVR and stuff like that. So I know I missed the end of the first season. It only had one season, right?
No, two.
Oh, it had two?
Yeah.
What?
They got the Strucker kids together. And they kind of got better with their power. Season 2 is when they really came together.
Okay, now I know I haven't seen season 2 at all. Maybe I did finish season 1. Then what was the end game for season 1?
Polaris
breaking her out
plane, essentially.
Oh yeah. Okay, maybe I didn't get to that. I don't remember that then.
Yeah, she downs that plane.
But I remember there was a lot of drama with her, like coming and going and stuff like that.
She breaks down a plane takes off and she rips it apart.
Okay.
And then somebody gives her a medallion of
Magnetos.
So
did they ever play it up that she was actually his daughter on that show?
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. They admitted it. Like they were like, "This is from your father," and like tossed her one.
Yeah, so she bent it into her little crown.
Yeah, a medallion that she kind of like puts on her crown that she like remorphs essentially because it's made out of metal anyway. So
cool.
But yeah,
I know I made it pretty far into the first season. I didn't think that I finished it, but did it get better with the second season? Like,
I thought it was pretty even keel across the board.
Yeah.
The first season I feel is a little over the top, where the second season felt a little bit more grounded. But I liked them all equally. I thought the storyline was pretty cool. I loved Warpath in it. I loved Blink in it.
I mean, I love Blink as a character all the time. So yeah, she was really cool to watch.
Dude, The Exiles is one of my favorite books. Like that book, so solid, especially like the first 50 issues of it are just so good. And it's so silly. Like Morph, one of the iterations of Morph is in that book, and he's so ridiculously over the top and silly and
nice.
Oh yeah.
So
was he on why am I drawing a blank on the name of the show?
No, he wasn't on The Gifted.
No. Yeah.
On the what?
The Gifted.
The Gifted. Thank you. Sorry, I completely drew a blank about the name of the show.
Was not on The Gifted. They wouldn't be able to make that budget too.
So I'm going to be 100% honest with you. The next 3 shows that we're going to talk about, I have seen 1 episode out of all 3 of the shows. So if you guys have seen them, I would love to hear from you guys about them. The 1 episode I've watched is the pilot episode of The Runaways, which I thought was fine. The kids find out that their parents are supervillains, but I just didn't enjoy it enough to ever watch any more of it.
I've not seen any of it.
Okay.
If you have read the comic or the graphic novel,
mm-hmm.
which is phenomenal, and then go back and watch this show, you won't like it. I mean,
really?
Again, I watched it just to get through it, but
sure.
they essentially cram in the first 3 volumes. No, I'll take it back. They actually toss it out. They use just the element of that their parents are evil, and they kind of run with it. But in the book, there is so much more. And then so many other Marvel characters kind of get involved and more character development with it. So the book, the story, Whedon did it too. Back when we liked Joss, had an arc in there too.
Nice.
Just did a lot of it. But the first 3 volumes of the book are great. The show, it struggled and they could not follow it.
Okay.
It's hard to do in the show what they did.
There was 3 seasons of it. Did you watch all of it?
Yeah, I watched it all beginning to end. And by the end of it, I was like, I just didn't like it at all.
Does it get progressively worse, or does it just start bad and gets worse? Okay.
And I was just mad what they did to these characters who were drawn so great in the story in the book, and then they just a lot of teenage angst and mommy and daddy issues take over in the Hulu series.
Gotcha. I was gonna say, yeah, it looks like the first season of it they released it weekly, and then seasons 2 and 3 they just dropped it all at once.
Yeah.
Either of you guys watch Cloak and Dagger?
Watched all of Cloak and Dagger.
I watched like the first 3 or 4 episodes. I think I got like halfway through the first season.
All right, give me your opinion on it, and then I want to hear Snow's.
It was fine. It was a little weird. It was a lot weird. I thought it was kind of interesting because in the comics, and Snow, you can correct me if I'm wrong. In the comics, he's older than she is. He's
right, not super old, but older.
But yeah, like he's like in his he'd be in his 20s or 30s, like late 20s, early 30s, and she was like 19, 20 or something like that.
I think that's about right.
But here they make them both teenagers and both in high school. It was okay. I just never got really hooked. Was it Rexon? Is that the name?
Rexon
company? Yeah, so like they're that's like their big baddie essentially.
Okay.
And,
essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I remember being
was it Rexon or Roxxon that was in Agent Carter show? What was
it? Would have been Roxxon.
It would have been Roxxon. Okay.
MCU. So Roxxon is a company within the Marvel universe.
Okay.
It's just blah. It was fine. I just didn't care for it overall.
It's again a better book because they both have drug issues in the book, so they kind of bypass that and just make them teenagers going through their own teenager thing. Like she's got daddy issues, and her her dad actually died in the story, and then he's dealing with racism and stuff within New Orleans and all of that, and they both share this experience, and they wake up with powers, and somehow they find their way because they're drawn together, but they can't touch each other. But there's no sexual tension. They're just friends,
So I honestly don't know a lot about these characters. What exactly is Cloak and Dagger's powers, and they only have powers when they're together?
No, they have powers separately.
Oh, okay.
Cloak can basically teleport anywhere.
Oh, okay.
Using dark energy, like this big shroud will come over him, and he can transport himself to the dark dimension, I think it is, or a negative type dimension. And he can also suck things into that dimension and bring them back out. And that's how he kind of gets around. I mean, does the same thing with Tandy or Dagger, who can just take light and bend light into solid forms.
Oh, okay.
Daggers, bows, any kind of sharp, pointy objects, ideal. So,
T1000 before the T1000.
Exactly.
Right on. Do you suggest I give it a try, or is it just not enjoyable?
You can miss it. You'll be fine.
Sounds good. The last one was when Marvel tried to go like super dark. Well, before
Constantine-ish.
And before they did the most recent X-Men movie, the New Mutants. Before they tried to go dark with New Mutants, they did the TV set. Well, no, this was after New Mutants. I take that back. Apologies. Hellstrom.
No, New Mutants was probably filmed by that time because it got delayed 19 times.
19 times, yeah. So last fall, I didn't realize that this just came out last October. Hellstrom came out, And even though it came out during quarantine, I literally had no interest in watching it.
Didn't even know it existed. I didn't know it was
really?
property.
I watched it. It was a Constantine knockoff for the most part.
Like the two main characters, their mother is the bad guy in the show, but she's like locked up in prison.
She's possessed by a demon type deal.
Okay.
And they are both the brother and sister are both their father was a demon, so they both have powers. And they do exorcisms and that type of deal, which again sounds like just a Constantine knockoff that they have done before. So
sure,
it's forgettable. It's enjoyable maybe to watch once, but it's forgettable.
Okay. Well,
I forgot about oh my goodness, Legion on FX.
That's another one. I only watched the first season of it. I liked Dan. What's that? It
was so weird. I only watched the first episode.
Gotcha. Yeah, I made it through the first season, and the first season finale was very weird. So I didn't come back for season 2. Was there a season 3 of that?
There was 3 seasons. Once Jermaine became like a main aspect of it, it got kind of good. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, really?
Jermaine Clement got kind of funnier in it, but the show's very heady. It's very heady. Like the whole show's an acid trip.
Do they in the later seasons? Do they ever actually officially connect him to Professor X? Or they do? Okay. Because that was what I was kind of always waiting for in season 1, and like they hinted at it, but there was never actually in a. Go ahead.
By season 3, you get young Charles in a.
Oh, cool.
I don't say a flashback, but a time travel type deal.
Oh,
back when he was still walking, and leading up to the battle with the Shadow King and that whole thing. But I still think the second season might have been better. First season was good. Third, it needed to end.
Okay. Well, I may give at least the second season a go then, because like I said, I watched the first season, and like Jason said, it's really trippy, really weird. Who's the chick that was in the first season?
Aubrey
Plaza. Yeah, Aubrey Plaza. I love her, so I really enjoyed her in the first season. But by the time it got over, I was just like, I really just didn't enjoy the ride of the first season, so I never watched anymore. But maybe I'll give the second season a go. I also forgot like the 1997 Fox X Mutants or New Mutants or whatever the fuck show that was.
I watched that. That was bad.
What the hell? That was terrible. Generation X or Gen X or something. Generation X or something like that. Absolutely terrible.
The 90s X-Men cartoon.
Yep. All right, so let us move on to we've got 2 to talk about and then a bunch to theorize about. Disney Plus, just this year, WandaVision started in January. We got 2 really good shows, in my opinion. WandaVision was a long haul of bizarreness. Episode 8 of WandaVision was my absolute favorite of the whole season. I thought it got so good in episode 8. I was unfortunately very disappointed with the finale. It didn't do anything that I wanted the show to do.
Which is so Marvel. They don't do what you want them to do.
They don't.
You got to wait 10 years to get anything that we actually wanted. And I respect that about them.
I mean, I guess, but it was just like, there's still like, she lit like, I guess I can't decide if I want to spoil stuff or not, but like just the things that happened in that final episode felt so unresolved to me. And I didn't get a Doctor Strange cameo that I wanted.
Benedict costs money.
He does, but still, like if they're trying to connect this show to Multiverse of Madness, like I feel like he should have. Like I wanted Wanda to go batshit crazy in the last episode. I wanted her to shatter and fracture all of the timelines because of what Kathryn Hahn's character has done to her. Like I wanted Wanda to go bad, and I wanted Wanda to be the villain of the Doctor Strange movie.
But they made Depression the villain. I mean,
they made Depression the villain, and that was like, and I get that, and I understand the hows and the whys of like why that was important, especially after COVID. That's obviously like Depression's the villain and all that stuff. But like the fight between her and Kathryn Hahn just wasn't that exciting. I mean, obviously I liked the twist of the hex and stuff like that, and how she took her powers away. Like that was really cool and whatnot. But like leading up to the finale, I thought Marvel was going to do it. Like, I thought Marvel had the balls to be like, we're going to take this character who has depression and issues. We're going to take her whole family away from her, and she's going to snap, and she's going to snap reality because she has the power to just be like, fracture the space-time continuum. And that's how we get, the third Spider-Man movie. That's how we get Multiverse of Madness. Like, that's how we get all the new Spider-Mans and all the villains from different eras coming and going and whatnot. Like, Wanda could have been that character that could have done that, and they pussied out and they didn't do it.
I think, like Mortal Kombat, you're just a little impatient. They are leading up to it because with the last scene that we saw, she's reading the Darkhold. She's boning up on her skills.
Which of the Darkhold was you throw that all the way back to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and that had a really good storyline with everything that went on in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
too. Yeah, I think we're getting there where she will snap, and we're going to get Ghost Rider allegedly and that and all that stuff. I just think they're building up to it, and to throw all of that all of a sudden at the end would take away from, I think, the rest of what they were trying to do.
Maybe
and just be fan service.
Well, and to address that real quick, I feel really bad for Diego Luna because, as we said earlier, I really enjoyed him as Ghost Rider. I fucking hate the fact that Hulu said they were going to do a Ghost Rider series with him and that it has now been canceled before they ever did anything with it. Because I enjoyed him as not Johnny Blaze, but oh my God, what was What was that, Jason?
Robbie Reyes.
Thank you. Yes. I enjoyed him as Robbie Reyes and thought that like him and like the thing with his uncle in the car and like he had a great arc as Ghost Rider. I would have loved to have seen more of it.
Agreed.
All right. So Jason, what were you about to say about WandaVision?
I was just going to say I'm right there with Snow on this. Is like I think you're just trying to get way too many steps ahead of this. And in Kevin Feige, we trust, man. Like,
yeah.
You gave us the best movie saga, property saga of all time. Hands down. Like, I was just reading an article or I made a comment on Facebook a few years ago, and I was like, the MCU is the best, has taken over, and it's the best saga of all time. And then, like, one of our Brandon Yoder, who sometimes comes on the show, he was like, I think you're wrong. I think Star Wars has way more like stuff it could tell, and it's like, fine, it does have more stuff it could tell, but it's not, the stories that have been told aren't good enough to supplant the MCU. So in Kevin Feige we trust, man, and I just can hope that Marvel's I don't know how much Marvel is involved with like telling him what he can or can't do.
Sure.
But it seems like he has figured out the proper working relationship with his studio to
well, and I didn't read this clickbait article I just saw a couple of hours ago, but there was a clickbait article that I'll go back and look at it, but it said Marvel feels like Disney execs are trying to get too involved in their properties or whatnot, which, I mean, obviously they own Marvel, so it's not a surprise that they're trying to come in there and tell them what they can and can't do. But like I said, it was a clickbait article, so I didn't actually click on it to read the whole thing, so I'm not sure like who they're specifically talking about or what's going on. But I saw that article and I was like, oh God, like somebody's trying to create drama between Marvel and Disney.
I think at this point they got such a good relationship because the comic book sales have gone through the roof. Not through the roof.
Have they?
I just say they've gone up.
Okay.
Within the last 10 years. Because as the movies do well, the books are going to do well because people.
Is that a physical sales number or is that a like subscriptions to like Marvel Unlimited number?
I want to say more unlimited because still the actual physical copies will always.
That's why I was curious because I've kind of heard that actual physical book sales have gone down. Do you talk to Fritz anymore? Do you know the truth behind that, Jason?
Fritz closed D-Puppy years ago.
Okay. Gotcha.
So I don't know he's not involved with that aspect anymore.
Okay. So yeah, because I've seen stuff online saying that physical issue sales have been trending down for a while.
Yeah. But
Marvel Unlimited subscriptions and stuff has been going up.
Yeah, people are still reading.
Cool.
Well, and it says, I pulled up an article. It says, "Are comic books a dying medium?" And it says, "No, while single issues of printed comics has decreased by 20% in the last 20 years, comic companies have tripled their market size through trade paperback, digital, and increasing prices."
Oh, yeah. Nice. So, that's pretty cool. So WandaVision, like I said, good. I enjoyed episode 8 the most out of all of it. The final confrontation between, the next to final confrontation between Scarlet Witch and Agatha was pretty awesome. Yeah. Really enjoyed that.
Agatha all
along. Oh yeah, what was that? The end of season 7 that happened. That was brilliant.
Yeah.
And yeah, like episode 8 is just a lot of conversation between two people arguing their points of views about the same thing, and really well done.
Huge tie-ins with all the universe, with all of her part in the Scarlet.
Oh, exactly. Part. Yep. So after that, we got Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which was so good.
Yeah, our new Captain America.
Oh yeah, like my this is gonna be an awkward complaint about it. It's an awkward complaint because there was a lot of really good action scenes throughout all 6 episodes.
Uh-huh.
But I honestly wanted more action sequences from this show. I also felt like there was a lot of lulls and a lot of like very boring parts of it. And I hate saying this, but episode 6, the fight between Falcon, the Winter Soldier, and John Walker was very lackluster in my opinion. I expected it to be like the best thing I've seen, and I was just really disappointed with that fight.
And I broke his arm and everything.
But
he got his wings ripped off.
I can't lie, that was pretty wicked.
Yeah. I know we wanted more. I can see that.
It was just, I don't know. Like, here's the one thing I really enjoyed about the show. In episode 2 or 3-ish somewhere, there's a scene where Falcon is fighting somebody, and I had never considered the option of him using his jetpack as a weapon to fight with. Yeah. And he did in that fight, and I was like, well, that's pretty badass.
Yeah, I like that he did get that more into it. I didn't like the fact that he did get his ass kicked a lot.
Well, but he's not super powered, and he was fighting super soldier people.
I get it, and that's where the jetpack comes in to help try to balance it, give a little bit more thrust and force. I get that, but to be the next Cap, I guess you just got to learn how to take those legs and get back up, because that was
dude, let's not lie. The Wakanda suit that he got when he puts those wings into the ground when he's fighting, like that moment was like badass. That was like, cool. I've got something to stop your superpowers from moving me.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it. The Isaiah Bradley stuff was awesome for them to bring in Red, White, and Truth. Is that what it was called?
Back then? Yeah. Or the book arc or what?
The comic book, yeah. It was called Red, White, and Truth, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's cool for them to bring in Isaiah Bradley that way.
I thought it was nice. Zemo, I think, stole every scene he was in.
Sure.
I thought he was great.
Zemo's the new Boba Fett. It's the
new Loki.
The new Loki. Yep, 100%.
Yep. He made a good point. He's almost Killmonger. I mean, he makes a good point. Don't really agree with his methods, but he made a damn good point.
Yep. And like that was the thing about Zemo's character throughout the show is like, yeah, he was kind of a douchebag in Winter Soldier, right? That was
Civil War.
Or Civil War. Thank you. Sorry. He was still a douchebag in Civil War and still didn't go about things the right way. But see, like peeling back the onion layers in this show, like. Yeah, like you don't really argue it. Like, I mean, he was from Sokovia. Like, he had a beef with, everything that went on. Things weren't good. So yeah, I really enjoyed Falcon and the Winter Soldier. 6 episodes. I'm glad they were as long as they were. They flew by like really good storytelling did. I know Malcolm Spellman was recently on Kevin Smith's podcast, and that was a blast to listen to him talk about the show. You really should look for whatever episode 2 or 3 weeks ago he was their guest. And Jason, you going for a walk?
I just got to take her out front. I'll be right back.
Cool. All right, sounds good. But Malcolm Spellman is the guest on Kevin Smith's podcast 2 or 3 weeks ago, and he talks about how he got the job working on it and like just what the process was going through it. And he seems like the coolest dude to talk to and hang out with. And he's very open and honest and blunt about, Mark Bernardin asked him, like, how black were you trying to make this show? And he was like, I mean, from day one, I went in and I was like, this is a story that I want to tell. And, and I think I've told this before, or maybe Jason and I just talked about it on one of the Kevin Smith podcasts. Mark Bernardin talked about how his agents got him in touch with Marvel a couple of years ago. And Marvel was like, oh, yeah, like, we like you. We're interested. Like, if you could do anything in the MCU, what would you want to do? So Mark Bernardin went into Marvel with a pitch for Red, White, and Truth. He wanted to do the Isaiah Bradley story. He was like, I think, as a black man, I could write this, and I think I could do it really well. Had a whole pitch for him, and they were like, yeah, that property's not available. You're not allowed to touch that. And he was like,
that might tarnish our image right now.
Well, no. Like it was like, I think he said it was like 2 years ago, and he was like, I was really upset and disappointed. He was like, I thought I picked something that nobody else was wanting to do, and I thought they'd be into letting me do it. And he goes, as soon as Falcon and Winter Soldier came out, he was like, I suddenly realized why they told me I wasn't allowed to touch that property.
Oh yeah.
He was like, they already had a plan for it with this television show. So,
and I think they knocked it out. I mean, you got the fear from it, you got the anger, you felt he was done wrong, and you got all that, and then you understood why he was mad.
Well, and the best part about it is like you've literally set yourself up. Like we've got 10 more shows to talk about, but you've set yourself up to whenever you want to do an Isaiah Bradley story in the 50s or 60s, you cast a younger dude. And you show, what the government did to Isaiah Bradley, and it could make its own, 6-episode show.
Agreed.
And how badass would it be if him and Steve Rogers actually had a moment in the 50s or 60s on screen together?
Well, he was frozen then, but it would be badass.
Oh yeah, good call. My bad. Well, but then he started doing time travel stuff, and he was around again.
Time bullets.
So we'll figure out all that stuff.
Yeah.
Jason, you haven't really shared your opinion yet on Falcon and the Winter Soldier. What's your thoughts?
I thought it was good, not great. I mean, it was really, really good. Out of the two, I think I liked WandaVision a little bit more, but the whole thing of the Falcon and the Winter Soldier is Anthony Mackie and Sebastian Stan.
Yes,
it's a lethal weapon.
The Brotherhood lethal weapon. The back and forth that they have. What was that? The second episode where they're in the therapy session or whatever.
It's staring at each other's eyes.
It worked so great in that episode, and you're just dying laughing the entire time. I wish that they would have. They had a whole lot of drama. I wish they would have lightened it just a tiny bit with a little bit more of their banter.
Okay.
But overall, I liked. I read somewhere that they originally at the end were going to say Captain America and the White Wolf. But they didn't want to take away Anthony Mackie's ascension to being Captain America. And I totally understand that. And if they make a season 2, I really hope it is called Captain America and the Winter or the White Wolf.
Well, I read an article this week that says Captain America 4 is planning the rebranding of him to White Wolf.
Yeah.
So if they do a second season of the show, it should be Captain America and the White Wolf.
And I'm all for Captain America 4. Sam is the natural progression of where that character, that idol needed to go.
Sure.
Yeah. Following the books, they did well.
And they did, because it's one of those. I saw a meme at one point in time, and it was talking about how it showed. Oh gosh, what's Wyatt's name?
Wyatt Russell.
Yeah, Wyatt Russell. But what's his name in this? I can't.
John Walker.
John Walker.
Yeah. So it was like John Walker, and it was like, is the perfect soldier. Whereas, even the last time Captain America as a young man sees Sam, he's like, you're a good man, which was the whole purpose of Captain America, of when the doctor was like, you need to be a good man. And it's just and it's true. Like as far as Captain America goes, one of the reasons why Steve Rogers has always been one of my favorites, and I've mentioned it on this podcast before, is how true he rides true. It doesn't matter if it's the government who says you should go to the left, he's going to the right because it's the correct way. It's the reason why I love Superman. It's the reason why I love Colossus. It's just because like I feel like when something needs to be done correctly, no matter what, these are the kind of characters that I gravitate towards because of the fact that they will always go the correct way, even if it's against other people's wishes. And Sam falls right in line with that aspect of a character that I like so much. And it's great to see somebody who is an everyday man take up the mantle of Captain America. Yeah, he might get his ass kicked a lot, but at least there's the possibility of him. He's not going to stop trying, and he's going to keep trying to become the best Captain America that he could possibly be. So,
I think while we were talking about Young Avengers, isn't the Ramirez kid or whatever supposed to be like the new Falcon?
Ramirez. Danny Ramirez.
Danny Ramirez, yeah.
I haven't actually heard what they're going to do with him. I know they said they're going to bring him in for a few more things, but
when you said, when Falcon got his wings ripped off, he told Danny to just keep them. And I'm pretty sure I've read in the comic books that Danny Ramirez becomes the new Falcon once Sam moves on to Captain America. So I have a feeling we'll see him again as the new Falcon in the Young Avengers.
I really hope that we get to see Danny Glover as the uncle, as Miles Morales' uncle.
Yeah. That would be really cool. Yeah.
Whenever they get around, because that Miles Morales is gonna come to the MCU.
He has to.
It's just a matter of when, not if it's gonna happen.
Well, and truth be told, like I'm crossing my fingers because of all the shit that's going on in the third Spider-Man movie. And the leaks of all the other Spider-Men that are going to be in it, I'm crossing my fingers that somehow they're going to, like, Miles Morales is the secret that they're keeping. Like, Marvel does a good job of, a lot of shit gets leaked and, we find out a lot of stuff and whatnot. But, like, if they can throw in Miles Morales into this movie and, like, nobody knows about it, that'll be fucking amazing.
Yeah. Everybody wants Donald Glover, but he might be too old now.
Well, but Donald Glover's the cousin. Donald Glover,
he's the uncle.
In the universe, he was
or uncle, yeah.
The Prowler. That's the word I was trying to.
Yeah,
he was a Prowler.
Yeah. I'd love to see him as the Prowler. Like, I'd love to pull that off. I think that would be really cool.
Yeah,
that would be cool.
Bring in, some young black kid or mixed black Latino kid for Miles Morales in the new Spider-Man movie, and then boom. Your next Spider-Man movie is the Miles Morales live-action movie. Donald Glover comes back as Prowler. Like, that could be a lot of fun and be really cool.
Spider-Verse is going to be hard to ever beat, but I get it.
Which one?
It's going to be hard to beat the Spider-Verse, but yeah.
Dude, that cartoon is so good.
Yeah.
That's top-notch amazing. Yeah, really fun. And Catherine Hahn was in that as well.
She was. Octopus.
All right, so this summer we've got 2 more Marvel shows guaranteed. We got Loki and What If coming out this summer. You guys excited about either one of those?
Probably What If more than Loki.
Really?
So, like, I think they're just trying to find a reason to use Hiddleston. I mean, he's great, and
won't argue with that at all.
They're just kind of shoehorning that, but I am kind of curious how him and Owen Wilson are going to get along. I think there's going to be a lot of humor to it. But I'm really curious about the what ifs because I like those what ifs.
Comic books.
Exactly. Peggy ends up being like Cap, and
that's going to be cool.
Yeah, Star-Lord is Black Panther is
T'Challa gets picked up by the original Ravagers and gets taken off to become Star-Lord. Yeah.
all these big what ifs I think are going to be great. And they throw in some zombies at one point too. They're doing the whole Marvel zombie thing at one point too. So I think that's going to be a little bit crazier. So I'm kind of into that. But I'm sure Loki will be great. You know, lots of humor. But I'm just like, what else can you do? The man dead but not dead. And alternate universe Loki.
Sure. Yeah, and that's gonna be really interesting to see how they pull it off and how they tie it into other, or if they're ever going to tie it into other stuff, or if this is also another explanation of the multiverse, like because in the preview for it, you see the exact same thing that the Ancient One showed Bruce Banner, where you've got the like timeline and all the things splitting off of it. Like you see that in the trailer for Loki. So like, are they admitting that like Loki has the ability to travel between these various timelines now? Are these various timelines the same thing as the multiverse? Like, I'm going to be interested to see if these, 6 episodes, if these 6 episodes are going to in any way connect to the bigger overall picture, or if this is literally just its own thing by itself.
Yeah, thinking it's going to be more of that.
You think so? And I mean, in the same way that What If is just
back into
by
it,
itself.
But, yeah.
Well, yeah, because I mean that's the Pandora's box that it opens. Like obviously, like Loki's sacrifice in Endgame, Infinity War would be not as important as it was if he's just all of a sudden back and he's alive again
and he's bad again.
Yeah. So well, because they're going to try to make him the anti-hero on this show, so like he's going to be bad and working his own agenda, but is he actually going to like or is he going to stab the Time Bureau? Time Bureau? Yeah. Something is he going to stab them in the back throughout the course of the show? Like, who knows? So that'll be interesting. But yeah, a lot of the what ifs sounds like a lot of fun. Hopefully they're pretty cool. The rest of the shows that we've got that are coming up on the future of Disney Plus, I'm going to list them all off, and then we can talk about any of them that you guys have interest in. We're getting Hawkeye and Miss Marvel later in this year at some point. They haven't done release dates on those. Next year, we're getting Moon Knight and She-Hulk. I'm excited about both of those.
Yeah, I like Tatiana. She's a great actress.
Tatiana Maslany. I love Orphan Black.
Yeah, Orphan Black I thought was a phenomenal show, and she played like 9 different characters.
Exactly.
I'm curious to see how are they going to, because she's like 5'4", maybe 5'3", and She-Hulk is well over 7 foot tall,
7 feet, something like she's huge.
Yeah, I don't know how they're going to pull it off, but I'm curious.
Probably going to have a pretty big budget on that show to do the CGI there. Next Christmas, we're getting a Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special, which I'm excited about because I love Christmas and I love Guardians of the Galaxy.
What?
So yeah. I like Christmas a little bit, just a little bit, just a little bit. And then
watch that after the Star Wars special. But yeah.
And then the shows that we don't have release dates on that have been announced that are coming at some point are Nick Fury's coming back for Secret Invasion. We're getting an Ironheart series, which they're going to introduce Ruby.
It's right. Ooh. Oh my God, Riley. Riri Johnson, something like that.
Something like that. Okay, so they're going to introduce her as a kid that is as smart as Tony Stark and creates her own Iron Man suits. Following that, we're going to have Armor Wars, which will be Don Cheadle's coming back as Ruby, and Tony Stark's tech. If they follow the comic book, Tony Stark's tech falls into villain hands, and then Rhodey as War Machine or Iron Patriot, whichever one they do, has to go stop it.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's other armored suits besides Rhodey in that one also, don't they?
Well, if they follow it, Norman gets a hold of one of the Iron Patriot suits and makes his own dark, version of it.
Oh, okay.
And then Hammer also gets thrown into the mix too with his own shit. So
yeah, so
who knows what they're going to do?
That could be interesting to see how they do that. Again, as I always say, it's Iron Man armor fighting Iron Man armor, which is what Marvel loves to do.
If they make it a Riri Williams was her name, but they make it like a good dogfight. I mean, like Top Gun. If you make it a good dogfight, 2 F-14s going battling back and forth, that can be entertaining.
Sure.
So if they do it right, I'm in.
Then we have the announced Wakanda series, which is coming from Ryan Coogler also after Black Panther 2. So that'll be interesting to see. Like, they haven't really announced what the plot or plan is for that. So I don't know if it will be more. I'm assuming that the rewrites of Black Panther 2 involve the fallout of T'Challa not being Black Panther anymore. So I don't know where the TV series is going to go, like, post that. And then apparently in Hawkeye, they are introducing a character called Echo, who is apparently another archer who's actually deaf, and they're giving her own show.
She's like Daredevil-esque.
Okay.
But more deaf. So she can see everything, and she sees sound waves, I think, or something like that. It's been a minute since I've read it, but it makes her reflexes and everything she has.
So Miss Marvel, like, I'm kind of whatever into it. I will watch Hawkeye. I think that's going to be a fun show. But Moon Knight, I'm really excited about.
Oscar Isaac is great. So Steven Dorff is the bad guy, I think.
I think that sounds right. Yep. Mayor, what are these shows are you interested in?
On the future Disney shows, Hawkeye, Moon Knight, She-Hulk was always. I really liked She-Hulk when I was reading her comic way back when with oh my goodness, was it John Byrne that was doing the drawings at that point? I think it might have been.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Armor Wars is something that, if it's done correctly, could be really fun. Secret Invasion, sure.
Okay. It's a good book. I don't know how they're going to pull it off with what they've already done with the MCU, but it's a good book.
What was the original plot with Secret Invasion? Like, and I know the scrolls have interpreted. Yeah,
they were already swapping out heroes and regular people. I mean, throughout several other stories in the background.
Okay,
there's a scroll queen, super zealot, religious type queen type deal, and all her followers. So they were basically
her, and then everybody else stops fighting. Does that happen?
I don't think it got that high-ish, but no. Okay. I just remember they reading the book. There was a really good line because all her little zealots kept saying, "Our God loves us. Our God loves us," and they kind of pray to their God. And then I remember Tony saying, "Well, my God has a hammer," and then Thor came down and just wrecked shit. So,
oh, nice.
Yeah. So I just know there's going to be, and that's why I kind of thought, leading off of Captain Marvel, the daughter might become that if she saw her die, but that's who knows. But if they do Secret Invasion right, it's going to be like a spy thriller, if anything. Okay. That's how I envision it in the MCU. Nick is trying to figure out who the Skrulls are, with the good Skrulls and the bad Skrulls going against each other.
Well, and obviously, like, we got a tiny glimpse of it in the Wanda Vision final episode, where they're hinting, with the Skrull coming and talking to Monica Rambeau about, like, my boss wants to talk to you. What's that? Oh, yeah.
No, they're like, where are they?
Yeah. So I have a feeling that that's kind of connecting to, and I know I got this wrong last time. It was the end of what was the extra scene that showed Nick Fury in space? Was that Spider-Man?
Spider-Man Far From Home.
Far From Home. Okay, cool. So it kind of connects back to, like, she's working for Nick Fury and got sent down there to bring Monica up to whatever space station, the Sword space station up there, which, again, is that scene of Nick Fury up there before or after Secret Invasion?
That's what I always wondered.
Yeah.
That was Nick really at the funeral? We don't know either.
Right. Was that Skrull Nick Fury at the funeral? I've seen theories online where people think that Sharon Carter in Falcon and Winter Soldier was a Skrull, that she's already been replaced. And that's why she's not the Sharon Carter that we know.
Yep. I was leaning that, like, power broker. I was like, that's weird for her to totally throw out an entire family name like that, as much as she had respect for her aunt. So I was thinking maybe she's a Skrull. Yeah.
So I've seen articles online that think that's what's going on. That could be interesting to see if that plays true. Like, I would love for Marvel to, like, mindfuck us on a lot of stuff and be like, here's a lot of, maybe not A+ level characters, but some A- characters that have been around for the last couple of movies that aren't who we thought they were. Like, I would love to see him do that to us.
Yeah. I'm in. I'm always in.
I agree. All right, guys. Well, that's awesome. It's been a good 2 hours of talking about Marvel television shows tonight. Really appreciate your time. Next week, hopefully, Snow is back with us, and we are going to talk about the non-MCU movies and pretty much all the other comic book movies that we've ever had to deal with in the last, 30-some years. We might talk about some of the early Marvel, like the Captain America and the Fantastic Four and like those movies that got made. Oh, man, they're so fun to go back and watch. But we'll pick it up with Blade and Constantine and like stuff like The Shadow or The Rocketeer. Yes, Jason, that's what next week is about.
Constantine, Rocketeer, and Shadow are not Marvel properties.
No, like next week is all the other all the other comic book stuff that's still out there. I'm saying like some of them might be old school Marvel stuff and whatnot, but like we'll talk about we'll hit the X-Men franchise that Fox did, which I mean is Marvel property, but Fox did them and we haven't talked about them yet. And there's a lot of garbage that will just blow over in that. But yeah, next week is all the non-MCU comic book movies that are still out there. So yeah, we'll have a blast talking about a lot of those. I'm sure I'm going to forget some more of them. So I will rely on you guys to bring up the ones that I forget about. I'm sure there's a lot of stuff I didn't realize was comic book movies. But try to put together a decent list for us to talk about next week. And I mean, a lot of them are probably going to be considered guilty pleasures because I still enjoy The Shadow and, some other 90s comic book movies that aren't very good.
The Phantom.
Billy Zane was the bomb.
Billy Zane, yeah. What was the cartoon Phantom 2049 or something?
Yeah, they had Defenders, and the Phantom was in that too.
Oh, something like that. I remember watching the Phantom cartoon a lot when I was younger, and then was very disappointed in the movie. So we will get to all of that next week, Snow. I hope you'll come back and join us and talk some more comic book stuff next week. It's been a blast having you on. Jason, you got any last words?
I'm tired.
You're tired? All right. Well, you got a little puppy that's keeping you up quite a bit more.
Yeah, not getting to sleep through the night is a bitch.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Snow, keep rehabbing your knee. Jason, keep taking care of your dog, and I will see you guys all next week. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Have a good time.